mastery with a new emphasis on the little yellow activator, Protandim nrf2. I've been using Protandim and our other products for about 5 years now, and I've shared them with my family, my friends, and my clients with incredible results of good health and vitality. I'm using them to level up my life, and those stories are part of our community legacy and are important to share. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and let me see if I can make this work. We were practicing this a little bit earlier, and hopefully you're seeing this. And Frank, are you getting that?
Yep, you're looking good.
Blank screen. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Go ahead and all right. Let me see. There we go. Okay, so the title of today's talk is The Biohacker's Guide to Wellness and Aging Using nrf2 Technology. And I'd like to make the usual FDA disclaimer that as an educator, I don't make any claims to diagnose, treat, cure, or mitigate disease. So if you haven't seen this ABC primetime video of John Quinones in 2005, I really encourage you to watch it. It helped put LifeVantage on the map. All right, well, as a quick refresher, human health and wellness has its basis in maintaining the 5 core pillars of health: oxidative stress, mitochondrial function, and sirtuin function, the second brain, and what I like to say is the first brain. The first 3 pillars comprise the 3 theories of aging and the 3 signaling gene pathways that are responsible for their actions. Those signaling pathways are the nrf2 pathway, short for nuclear factor erythroid 2 related factor 2, and nrf1 pathway, short for nuclear respiratory factor 1, and the NAD sirtuin pathway. So for today's purposes, I'm only going to focus on the first pillar of oxidative stress and the nrf2 signaling pathway, but for now on, I'm only going to say nrf2. Okay, y'all, that was the most complicated part of my talk, okay? Who here rolled their eyes up into their heads and already fell asleep? No more deep science lingo. I want everyone to understand this. The deep talk is to validate the science for you, to let you know that this is real. I will give some other historical examples, but don't get caught up in it. Everyone has to be able to talk about nrf2 so that we can help people to have better lives. You don't have to be a doctor or have an advanced degree to be able to explain what we're going to talk about today, let alone to share it with your family and friends. Just know that the science backing is there. All right, so the molecule of oxygen, O2, is not as good for you as you might think. It's usually referred to as O2, but when it's a separate atom, oxygen is highly reactive. The air we breathe is only 21% oxygen. The rest is mostly nitrogen, CO2, and other gases. You couldn't breathe 100% oxygen for very long without suffering damage from it. And in my field of pediatrics, it can cause infant lung damage and even blindness in babies that are exposed to too much of it. So oxidation is what oxygen does to other materials. If you think about it, when something is oxidized, we're really talking about burning. A candle flame is a classic example of the oxidation of a fuel. So oxidation is synonymous with burning or being inflammable. Okay, any of you who know me knows that I like to use visual props to demonstrate my points. I wish I could do this on a big stage for you, but here is just a small taste. I'm going to unshare my screen for a second. And I'm going to take one of my little props here. I'm going to light this candle. All right, so look at this candle burning. This is oxidation. Now, look at this oxygen torch. There is some serious oxidation going on, and also some serious byproducts of the burning process. That's as dangerous as it's going to get today, my friends. I'm going to reshare my screen. We needed a little drama to wake everybody up.
Yeah, I might skip my Axio today. That was great.
I know it, right? All right, so the oxidative effect on metal or steel is easy to see. It rusts. Aluminum corrodes, but your cells rust too. They show rust in various ways. First, by developing wrinkles like your skin, and then cells are damaged as they are consumed by oxidation and are put in flames. And then they break down and die. We don't want this process to be out of control, and we don't want to burn up too quickly. This is aging in a nutshell. So just as this apple was white when it was fresh, as it oxidizes, the flesh turns brown. Essentially, it's being burnt. So why is it damaging? Well, our exposure to external forces of radiation, UV light, pollution, smoking, and cellular waste all create and release a reactive oxygen species known as a free radical. These free radicals attempt to punch holes in everything they touch. And when this happens, the damage has the ability to hurt our cells and our DNA. All of the environmental factors that I just mentioned are referred to as our exposome. This is what we as living organisms are exposed to in our everyday lives. It's important to know that their effects are cumulative and that the common feature is oxygen. We'll just refer to these as the bad guys from now on. So if your cells are being oxidized and put in flames by the bad guys, don't you want to quench that fire? I know that I don't need to ask if anyone here is taking an antioxidant like vitamin C, vitamin D, or eating healthy greens like broccoli or kale, because as biohackers, we're taking them to counteract free radicals. That's right. The opposite of a free radical is an antioxidant. It binds up and neutralizes free radicals, and we want as many of them in our body as possible. It's literally a constant battle that plays out over our lives. Now, there are secondary antioxidants that exist in nature that we can take into our bodies in the forms of vitamins and minerals and plants and so forth, but they're at the bottom of this antioxidant triangle. Although they're important to have, they're relatively weak, and they can't possibly contend with the millions of numbers of free radicals that we generate. But we've been given a gift at birth of three primary internal antioxidants called SOD, catalase, and glutathione that are so much more powerful. They're effective in neutralizing almost all of the free radicals that we generate. The problem is that as we get older, our ability to generate them goes down. And as they become less effective, the levels of the free radicals begins to climb and starts to have its ugly effects on our bodies. This occurs about the age of 20 in most people. Those antioxidants I like to refer to as the good guys, and I put a Superman symbol by them because they're there to save the day. All right, well, when the amount of free radicals exceeds our ability to neutralize them, that's what we refer to as oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is the main cause of aging and essentially puts us in flames. Now, many organ systems are affected by the effects of free radicals: our heart, skin, kidneys, brain, and many others. And as a doctor, I've been trained to deal with these organ systems, but maybe the better thing to do is to get to the root cause of the trouble in the first place by reducing the central player of oxidative stress. When we do that and bring in Superman, we can increase our cellular production of those very important internal antioxidants: SOD, catalase, and glutathione. So how can we do that? Well, let's talk genetics for a minute. We all have 46 chromosomes that represent our genetic instruction set. All of our survival genes have been mapped. I often say that DNA is not your destiny. In our 23 pair of chromosomes, only 20% of our genes are expressed. 80% lie dormant, waiting for signals to turn them on. We now know that we can positively influence the expression of these genes through foods, supplements, and activator products. Those are also part of our exposome. They're good exposures. When we do this purposefully, this is what we refer to as biohacking, which basically means life influencing. Our other option would be to allow ourselves to be hijacked by the negative elements of our exposome. Now, two genes in particular code for proteins and enzymes that have been identified as the master regulators of cellular protection. They're the nrf2 and the nrf1 protein. We're focusing today only on nrf2. Now, when we activate nrf2 in this case, we're able to increase SOD by an amazing 34%, catalase by 54%, and glutathione by 300% in just 120 days, essentially reducing our oxidative stress by an incredible 40% in 30 days and as much as 70% by 4 months. It also turns on hundreds of survival genes besides nrf2 and nrf1. This was studied by multiple prestigious independent institutions such as Harvard, OSU, LSU, Vanderbilt Commonwealth, UCHSC, and Stanford. And it's cited in at least 31 peer review or publications, and it's also published at the NIH on their website, pubmed.gov. That means that this has been accepted by the scientific community and is available to the public for review. So biohacking the aging code is now a reality. So when we biohack, we're optimizing our genetic potential and becoming the best version of ourselves. We're using the science of nutrigenomics. We don't want to be hijacked by toxins, emotional stressors, injury, allergens, radiations, and so forth. We're being hijacked 24/7, and look what it's doing to us. So, using nutrigenomics, this is the science of how nutrition affects our gene behavior. We look at food and nutrition as an instructional code or a signal for our bodies. So this is where the Superman that we're talking about, Protandim nrf2, comes in. It was developed by the same research scientist who discovered SOD in 1969, and he was awarded the prestigious Elliott Cresson Chemistry Award for SOD's discovery. Now, it consists of a specific mixture of 5 ingredients: ashwagandha, bacopa, green tea extract, milk thistle, and turmeric. These have been used for thousands of years or more by the ancients, but they didn't really understand why they had specific properties of action. Although each of the ingredients may be a true antioxidant in their own right, that's not how we're using them here. They're all weak nrf2 signalers in their own right, but in the correct ratios and amounts, they're able to amplify each other to the tune of 1,800%. This was nothing short of miraculous. Together, they turn on survival genes and activate nrf2 in all of your 37 trillion cells, in essence, telling your body to make their own antioxidants to the tune of millions. So Protandim nrf2 lowers oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days in 99.9% of people who take it. It reduces cellular stress through the nrf2 pathway activation. It induces enzymes capable of neutralizing more than 1 million free radicals per second in every single one of your 37 trillion cells simultaneously. It helps the nrf2 to regulate over 400 survival genes and thereby helps the body to repair and neutralize insults. And it's the only natural supplement activator that's proven to extend life in male mice by 7%, according to studies done by the National Institutes of Aging, a division of the National Institutes of Health. Now, when we talk about the secondary antioxidants that we ordinarily supplement with by mouth, they only have a 1-to-1 antioxidant to free radical neutralization power. But when we're activating all of our cells, we're creating a 1,000,000-to-1 antioxidant neutralization power in all of our cells at the same time. We're not putting out those fires with a little Dixie cup. We're putting them out with a fire hose. Now, the antioxidant potential in one protandim nrf2 is equal to the antioxidant power of consuming 120 vitamin C tablets, 11 pounds of blueberries, 87 glasses of red wine, and 375 oranges. I'd like to see anybody try any of that. Again, this illustrates the difference in using the 1-to-1 ratio using dietary antioxidants versus the 1-to-1,000,000 ratio of protandim nrf2. This is what it looks like in a graph. You see that the oxidative stress line in red climbs steadily after the age of 20. But when protandim nrf2 is given for at least 30 days, that line is flat at all ages, including 80. This was in everyone who ever took it. And I want to make the point that my statement that protandim nrf2 reduces oxidative stress by 40% in 99.9% of people after 30 days is one that's recognized by the FDA. Now, let's look at gene expression in a different way. Let's look at it in the analogy of a piano keyboard. Here we see 63 keys on the piano. Each one plays one note and represents one of the genes that we're activating from the over 400 that are affected by protandim nrf2. Now, let's just look at one octave. Now, in 1969, Grandma bought a brand new piano that was in perfect tune. Look how each note in green flows nicely into the next in a nice, smooth pattern. Now, what would happen if that piano sat in the attic for 50 years? Look how irregular the sound pattern is now. That piano is out of tune, and it also performs badly. Well, it's the exact same thing with our genetic expression. Take a look at those 63 notes or genes and look how irregular our gene expression frequency is after 50 years. Some are expressing too low and some are expressing too high. None of them are normal for that of a young person. Now, look what happens to that gene expression map in the presence of protandim nrf2. The genes that were highly expressed are now supported, and the ones that were too low are also supported. These genes influence lots of different functions besides SOD, catalase, and glutathione. The nrf2 pathway is intertwined in the support of many aspects of healthy functioning of all of our cells. Now you can really understand the impact that this could have on our health when genes are supported through healthy signaling and are turned on by this master regulator that we call the nrf2 pathway. Washington State University in 2015 went so far as to say that we may be on the verge of new literature on health effects of nrf2, which might well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. That's what got my attention. Now, all mammals have the same nrf2 mechanism. They suffer from oxidative stress and age many times faster than we do. The good news is that there's a protandim nrf2 for our pets also. So let's look at these key points. Don't take antioxidants, make them. Fight free radicals 1,000,000 to 1 in every cell of the body. Increase SOD, catalase, and glutathione, and activate over 400 other survival genes. Help the body to detoxify and support neutralization from years of living. There is currently no other product in the world backed by scientific proof that does this. Protandim nrf2 is the first and only nutrigenomic nrf2 activator in the wellness sphere and is the flagship product that has made the LifeVantage company what it is today. I am so proud to be a part of this science and to bring it to all of you today as part of LifeVantage's new focus on the little yellow activator, protandim nrf2. Frank, back to you, sir.
That was fantastic.